What is going on, everybody? It is Mr. Banks here with another edition of Wolf Talk. I am your host, along with co-host No Risk, No Premium. Chris, how you doing today?
What's up, brother? How we doing? Always
Pretty.
doing well. Always doing well.
It's good. It's good to hear. I'm doing pretty well as well. I just want to say that we're not financial advisors. Anything on this podcast should not be taken as financial advice. But let's get started. We had the minutes today. Pretty choppy day, like
Yep.
usual when the Fed minutes come out.
Yep.
What was your take on that? We saw a lot of chop. Didn't really go anywhere. What was your take on the minutes that came out today?
I mean, normal market. I'd say normal market participation as far as the movement that went on. We always see some sort of move in the morning where we get to a base, whether it's at support or resistance, and then we chop there all day long. And then once the minutes come out, then it's no holds bar from there. Anything can happen. Personally, I'm like not really liking to trade the FOMC action much. We caught some good action.
Some
But
scalps.
it was very scalpy. If you were like my buddy at Alpha Trader says, man, if this is not a PDT trading environment, man, if you were flip flopping sides and you're on the PDT, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You wasted all your trades. Probably got locked in on some shit that you didn't want to get locked in. May have lost more money than you would have thought. But yeah, man. I mean, overall, the action was exactly what we thought. Now, as far as what the minutes said, in accordance to what they said in their last meeting, you know,
Yeah.
basically we knew the same things. I mean, we knew exactly what was going to happen. What they said, we're gonna rate hike 50 basis points the next meeting, possible two meetings in a row. I think the only thing they kind of changed their tone to was what they're going to let roll off the balance sheet as far as the reduction side. Which is definitely a little bit more hawkish. I think that they are estimating, or the consensus was like 80 billion a month, and they came out and said we're going to do 95. So that was definitely a little bit more aggressive. Other than that, man, I mean, my personal opinion on it, we talk about it all the time. It's like I think we need to get aggressive with the tightening, the quantitative tightening of our Fed, personally, because if we don't and inflation runs out of hand, it will only hurt the middle class the most. Like honestly, in my opinion, we need less money in circulation. We printed so goddamn much. We need rates to raise. We need a slowdown in our economy. We need to get back. Basically, we need to take money back from the people, and the only way we do that is taxes, right?
Yeah.
So like, so I'm just like, or the main way you do that is off taxes, excuse me. But I mean, I think we need to get a little more hawkish. I think we've been letting this shit run free way too long, and then the longer we delay the inevitable, the worse it's going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know your thoughts on it, but
I mean, a lot of people think that they're preparing themselves for a major crash, and they just want to make sure that once the crash happens, they're going to be on top, and so
mhm,
they're set. And that's what a lot of people think is happening right now with this. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that they do need to be more hawkish on everything. Inflation's still rising. You see it around you. Prices are still going up on consumer goods, on anything. You go to
yeah,
the store, grocery store, my bill is continually rising every single week, buying the same things.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, no, they need to take reins on it and do something about it. And, if we do get a nice big correction, or, a nice big crash, it's almost needed, so that we
yeah.
can restart this big mess up that we got ourselves in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not advocating or like rooting that the market crashes.
Yeah.
I'm not like that's going to be horrible. It's going to hurt a lot of people. It's going to hurt a lot of different pensions. A lot of different retirement accounts. But I'm a firm believer. Coming from the middle class, personally growing up, that like I understand that this is really going to hurt people the longer we delay and we just keep on printing money, right? And we don't raise
Yeah.
rates. We don't actually put, because basically what people don't understand is they're like, well, why do rates matter? I'm like, well, the rates at which you borrow money is non-existent, and any borrowed money that's brand new money from the banks is all brand new money into the money supply, right? We've talked about that many times. But if there are any new listeners, I think that needed to be stated. You know, they if you keep on printing it, it's going to become less and less and less valuable. So the cost of goods is going to go up and up and up and up, right? So it's only going to hurt you in the long term. So you need to take back some of that money. You need to stop spending it too. So if you raise rates by the Fed, it'll go ahead and affect what the banks will lend out their money at, right? So when you have higher rates, then you have small businesses and personal consumption of new loans or personal loans or car loans or mortgage loans or whatever it might be get slowed down. So there's less money being injected, right?
Yeah.
And then I mean, people hate it or not. I mean, there's gonna be a rate raise in taxes. Like that's the
Yeah.
main source of that's how the money like supply goes, right? They inject it, then they need to take it back in. You know,
Exactly.
I think they need to get reeled in on their budgets too. Like
Yeah.
budgets are just out of control. Like at what point I was
What's that?
having
9 trillion right now?
what
Yeah.
deficit? Oh no, it's way over that.
Or no, or the so not the deficit, but the balance sheet
Oh yeah, it's
was
high.
at
The
nine
Fed.
trillion.
Yeah, but you know, I'm just thinking like even government spending,
Yeah.
people don't realize government spending that's brand new money injected. They don't. You have to realize people are like, well, that's why we pay tax. I go, well, if they only spent what they took in, we would literally break even every year.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm like, just really simple. If they only they took in 100 billion, then they could only spend 100 billion, and we wouldn't be in this huge deficit, right? So I'm like, you guys have to realize that they're running wild, man. I mean, they're just
Well, you
spending
see
money
these
on anything and
bills.
everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially with the COVID and the COVID bills, you saw that they just are injecting money into things that didn't need money to be injected into.
Oh well.
People were putting, they were lining their pockets and like, yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah, the government spending is, they spend shit on things that they shouldn't be spending shit on, or it's, for votes, it's for this. There's always like some agenda to why
Yep.
these people are getting money. It's not really
Mhm.
because they need it. It's just because,
Backdoor
yeah,
deals. Yeah.
exactly.
It's all special interests. It has
Mhm.
their best interests in mind. It's ridiculous. It's all political motivated too. And I think honestly, I
Yeah.
think just, I don't give a fuck who you voted for. You voted for Biden, you voted for Trump. Doesn't give a fuck at this point. Right? Biden's the guy, and from just like totally just from a macro perspective, I think for his administration that if he really wants to win the vote back or win back some of like his approval rating, like the gas prices need to come down, inflation needs to come down. I mean, like those are
Yeah.
the two biggest thing hurting the majority of people. And yesterday, he actually pushed back the deadline on what was it, student loan payments. I think
Yeah.
until like it was Q3. So I can't remember if it was August or September, whatever. But people don't realize that loan money that is loaned out, if you don't take the loan back, right, you're not taking money out of circulation either. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going into this. I think to be honest, I mean, I've heard some crazy shit. There was someone I was talking to like, well, they're like, if they lock us back down, then people can't drive. And if you can't drive, then there won't be a need of supply. So even if there's small demand, then there's no supply. So the price will come down. That's how they'll artificially do it. And in my head, I'm like, you're crazy. That's crazy. That'll never happen. And then I go, well, fuck, 2020 happened. And I'm like, nothing would ever surprise me again.
Oh, at this point, no. I mean, because I
Like
never
nothing will
expected
ever
2020 to
surprise me
happen.
again. I mean, listen, they raised the budget for the staffers, right? In the White House. There's like they raised it by like 21. It's like a 21% increase for the staffers, right? Of the government budget. And everyone's like, well, our government got a raise, like the Congress. And I was like, well, they're not staffers, but what did Biden come out today and said, oh, he's nominating, I have to check the link if this is true. I don't even know if I should say it, but he's basically nominating. It was said he nominated Nancy Pelosi to the
Oh, I saw
like the
that.
board
Yeah.
or whatever for the SEC.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and as a staffer, like now I need to check that link. It was from Unusual Whales. I need to look into it more. So if it's wrong and inaccurate, like please just negate everything I'm saying. But from the surface level, if it is true, if that is true, that is very, very interesting that there would be a massive increase on that budget side of things, and then for somebody to get paid more. Um, it's just shit like that, bro. That
Yeah.
like, bro, when as people do we finally, wake up? All you motherfuckers are so woke, but you don't know a fucking shit about what makes the world go around, and like you don't realize all this shit is fucking hurting us. Like when the fuck do we wake up
Well, it's
and
all smoke.
realize?
Yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors. They tell you one thing, but then they do something behind their back. They're like, oh, they made this big stink about insider trader, congressional trading.
Oh yeah.
And then Pelosi's the biggest culprit of it.
Oh
And then if
yeah.
she's going to be a staffer at the SEC,
Yeah.
like
It's
you
like what the
have to know
fuck
it's
is going
all
on?
this, it's all bullshit that goes on
Nah.
behind the scenes. It's
And it's
literally
not even
bullshit.
just Pelosi. There was like the chart, Unusual Whales put this out too
Yeah.
of like people who outperform the S&P 500, which like, every year as like somebody that really doesn't know much about the market or just like a baseline person or an investor, 8 to 12%. That's kind of that baseline model. You're always aiming for 8 to 12, right? And it's like there's so many people out, like of the people in Congress, there's like 40 people outperforming the S&P 500 in their personal stock portfolio. I'm like, I mean, bro, yeah, we're talking about this. This shit's all fucking what? How can my back pocket get full the fastest? Like special interest. This is bullshit,
Well, and
bro.
especially if Pelosi's in with the SEC, that their special interests are going to be mad.
Yeah,
Pretty much that was a move to make sure, like, okay, we can keep insider trading and make it okay.
she was talking about like getting out of Congress too and stuff, but now she's diving, like she's getting her hands in more things. Like I don't know, bro. I feel like all of Congress are all old as dirt, and fucking
Yeah,
all of them want to stay around, but they say like, oh, retire when you're 60 and live the best life you can. And I'm like, well, then why are you guys about to fucking fall down to the ground? Why aren't you guys enjoying your life?
it's
I'm like,
that
because you make so
power,
much
man.
fucking money, bro. How can you be worth
Money and
hundreds of
power.
millions of dollars and work for Congress? Like, be a Congress, like you serve the people and you make so much more than them. Like,
Yeah,
I still don't understand that. And
yeah,
we're
it's
okay with
insane.
that as people. Like, we're okay. Like the taxpayers, like, if we don't make a change about it, what we're saying is we're cool with that. And like to me, I'm like, bro, that's fuck. We got to do something because this shit ain't right, and our kids, like, it ain't gonna be right for them either.
No,
When that gets to that point.
if they're making decisions that was running this country good and great, then okay, get paid a little bit more. But every single decision they make just seems to hurt us as a
and then
people.
and then they point their fingers to anyone else besides themselves.
Yeah.
like they're like, inflation and gas prices is because of Putin.
Bro, oh my god, dude! Literally,
I'm like,
yeah.
what the
Biden's just all
fuck?
sorry. I can't comment. It's Putin's fault. Like
Yeah, it's
literally, just
Putin's.
like no big deal.
Anyone besides them, like, no, you guys didn't spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. No, you didn't put fucking millions of people on unemployment. No, you didn't, can't like fucking take away loan payments and shit and forbearance on fucking. I'm just like, oh god. But Putin invades
Yeah,
eastern Ukraine, and God,
ruined everything.
the world went to shit after that. I go, bro, inflation was already on the run, and like, I'm in California, gas has been above 5 for well before Putin even stepped foot in Ukraine,
Yeah,
right? And now here, I mean, I think I filled up. It was 609, 619. The last time I filled up my truck, and that's the old truck, that's 89 or whatever the lowest, 87. I
yeah,
think 91's another 30, 40 cents above that. So like,
yeah. No,
these fucking
it's been
people, bro.
trouble.
These fucking people. But I mean, anyway, back to the minutes.
Yeah,
I think they need
yeah,
to get. I don't mind them being hawkish. I mean, I really don't,
yeah.
because
I
I
mean,
think they need to fix inflation. But I also think Biden's administration. I think we touched on it. I think he's gonna. I think in order to win the people over again, inflation and gas prices have got to come down.
have to.
Have to. And how you do that is maybe put yourself in a little bit of a recession where you're not expanding as an economy, so you can take some money back. You're not spending as much money, and it's going to hurt. And I think they're in a rock and a hard place, because in order to do what you want to do, you're going to hurt people no matter what, being in a recession,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But
And
it's kind
then
of one of those things where they're probably just like waiting on certain events to unfold for certain things to take place,
yeah.
So they pretty much they don't want to be to blame for anything. So
No,
however
no,
they
never.
can lower us into that recession, they're gonna use whoever else to blame to
Yeah.
do it. So I think that's kind of like one reason that they're waiting to really hit this recession is because they need to find that scapegoat. That's
Yeah.
not them.
Do as I say, not as I do. That's like
Yeah.
our fucking. I'm just like, good God. And then there's all this inversion talk on the yields and shit, which I'm not really that familiar with. But apparently, last time this inversion happened, it was like the recession happened 18 months
Well, we
later, some shit
had
like that. I think it was the 2 year and the 5 year or something like that.
yeah,
Yield
2,
curves
5, 10
and
to
10. It's
10.
like with the three
Yeah.
they watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they also had the last time I was reading the Fed cap on its monthly asset sales at 95 billion each month, which you said earlier.
Yeah.
That's going to be twice as fast as the Fed's prior balance sheet runoff in 2017.
Yeah.
And we know we saw that little, I guess, I don't know, call it recession, but in 2018,
We
we
had a
had
blimp.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
The
I mean,
last time we
there is
tightened.
things that are, lining up for the future recession, that this is the beginning to take place
Yeah. I
of
think it's
it.
important too that like you can't use exact historical data
Mhm.
to like try to give exact like I guess what you think would happen from this because we've never the conditions are ever changing. We've never had the Fed funds rate this low for this long, I believe. We've never
Yeah.
had them purchase this much. We've never had this high of inflation when we decided to start tightening. We didn't have gas prices at this point when we started to, you know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
so like everyone's like, well, 2008, 2000, but I'm like all three of those were all different. Just
Yeah.
like this will be different. You know what I mean?
Completely
So
different situation.
I think it's important to say that because people get too caught up. They get too
And it,
caught up.
and it also seems that this administration is willing to put band-aids on, just to keep things going versus
Yeah. Oh, a band-aid. How about COVID 2020? Here's two $1,200 checks for 24 months, and that'll help. That'll get you through your
yeah.
expenses. I'm like, well, in California, I'm like, that ain't even 1 month's rent for most places. Like just the rent payment outside of utilities, gas, all that shit. Then you got groceries, then you got personal payments, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But enough about the minutes. What about Elon, buying a stake in Twitter? That's some pretty big news that came out
Yeah,
to,
bro. That was
so I
that's
mean,
actually massive.
yeah, no, that's a pretty big deal. And the way I see it is kind of like how Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post.
Yeah.
I think it's a way for Elon to kind of control a media outlet that, he uses Twitter the most. That's where most any kind of news post comes from, an Elon tweet. So if he can control Twitter and control
Mhm.
that media, I think that was like that's the move that he made. Just like Jeff Bezos bought out Washington Post,
For sure.
I think this is a move to control a media source and outlet for him.
Yeah. I mean, a great business move because I think it disclosed it. He bought it like way lower in like January, and he already made like I think it was 3 billion on it alone,
Yeah.
just off the news coming out in the jump. I also think it's like definitely a political move as well. You know, I would say as far as like the ultra high net worth people of our country or the elites, whatever the fuck you want to call them, Elon being like the richest man, whatever. He's like
Yeah.
the only one that I've seen really go up and question against and basically go against any of the narrative that's been pushed out by mainstream media, by the government, etc. He's the only one that's really questioned anything. So I think it was a pretty big win on the political side. I guess you would call it if you want a Republican win, um, because it seems like any misinformation that wants to get quoted is just anything that's going against the narrative, and that's what he's like voiced his opinion against.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how the hell it's gonna play out with everything. Um, I just know I know we talked about it, but I didn't like Jack Dorsey's fucking comment after the fact, like, "Oh, we've always tried to get Elon on the board. I thought he'd be a great member." I'm like, "Bro, shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Like you're the one that started this whole fucking shitstorm and then dropped it because you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. But like you were the fucking jack off. Like you could have done this. He could have made all these changes. He could have been Elon and he chose not
Exactly.
to. Like he's a fucking coward, bro.
No, yeah, he is.
He's such a coward, in my opinion. And then he wants to
Nah,
come back and
he's
save face after the fact, like, fuck you.
no, yeah, he's one of those that's like, he's woke, kind of like wants, yeah, he's dumb and he makes stupid decisions as a CEO for sure.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
then
you
they've got
see,
he
yeah,
left though.
yeah,
And then they got this. I don't even know the news. I don't pay attention that much to these fucking idiot CEOs of these like big ass media companies, but or tech. But I know the new CEO. I've seen some tweets and shit about him. He's not happy about Elon. He is not happy about
Well, when
that.
you have a person like Elon, you have more than Elon coming on board. You have, his whole millions and millions of people
Of
fan base that like has
Yeah,
influence on, your company, especially backing Elon. So if Elon
yeah,
says something, you're going to be attacked by his whole, fan club as
yeah.
well. So that's what makes it hard having Elon on board.
Yeah, and Elon, he's gonna change shit at the drop of a hat. It's one
Yeah,
Twitter
he is.
pull away from fucking changing everything.
Yeah.
Should I sell stock? Yes. Should I buy Twitter? Yes. Okay, he just does it. And then
Yeah.
and then what he do? He went on Facebook on Mark Zuckerberg's post and put, "Should I buy Facebook?" And then I'm just like, I'm looking at Justin like, bro, maybe we should just go buy some Facebook stock right now because I know he's fucking around, but he's
Nah,
usually
he
he
has
usually
the
gives
money
those
to
type of hints,
spend.
though. He gives those little types of hints, doesn't he?
No, he does, and I think I mean, he can't fully come out and say, "Oh, I'm buying this or doing that," obviously because of the SEC bullshit. But he does drop hints. He's really smart at like giving us those, cues of like, okay, this is gonna happen. Get ready for it.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I mean, I know Elon's he's trying to put some AI shit in brains and shit like that from a chip standpoint, like all this kind of shit, like way out there shit I don't agree with. But like honestly, I thought I took a step back and thought about him buying Meta, which is Meta now, right? It's not even Facebook,
Yeah.
Meta. Because Meta is a total metaverse play, and that will be that
Mhm.
total alternate, all of that type of AI type of shit. And I'm like, that would be a really good play for him to actually do that. And I think Zuckerberg is probably like with the branding. I mean, it's scream. I thought the rebranding was desperate as fuck.
Yeah, it
Um,
was.
it was just like a total pivot. He could have just made a completely separate company, and then you know what I mean, and still owned. I don't know. It just seemed desperate. So for me at this point, I feel like he wouldn't be that upset if Elon came in and snatched up like a massive, massive stake in it
I
because I
mean,
think
it'd be good for it for sure.
yeah, I think it would
Yeah.
actually help him. you know,
I mean, they kind of have. I think they do have opposing ideas when it comes to AI, but
yeah,
I think if they did sat down and talk to each other and had their teams talk to each other, they probably could come up with some pretty cool
was
stuff.
some cool ass shit.
Yeah,
I'm not a virtual reality fan at all. I don't fuck with it. I don't like it. I don't think I'll ever have my kids when I do have kids really fuck with it. I'd rather them like live in the real world with like real shit.
absolutely. They
You
got to go
know?
play in the dirt.
Yeah, go fuck, dude. The sun's out, be outside, do some
Yeah,
shit, bro. Don't be living in this fake fucking world. I do enjoy the videos though, those dumbasses that are inside and they got the video thing on and
yeah,
they're like running into walls or like, have you seen those people? Yeah, the
yeah.
fucking idiots,
Breaking
dude.
TVs and stuff
Yeah,
because they can jump
punching
in. Yeah,
TVs and shit. I'm like, you're such an idiot, but I kind of like watching this. Makes me happy a little bit. Like you're so
yeah,
stupid. How could you forget you're inside? Like how? Like maybe the
yeah,
virtual reality is that good. I don't know.
yeah. Maybe
Shit,
so.
I don't know.
Yeah, I tried it once. It was definitely weird,
It was
different, but
different, huh?
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
something I want to live in. That's for
Nah,
sure.
no, no, no,
No.
no. I'm cool. I'm cool. You guys go live in that fake world. I'll stay out here.
Yeah, the reality or however real it is, with everything
Yeah.
going on. But no, that
It's
was good.
it's
I mean,
scary. It's scary because if they get the majority on it, then that majority can make that a reality. That's the
exactly.
scariest part for me. Is the acceptance of it.
Yeah, the
Would
mainstream adoption.
then make the real world like not the minority, and that the shit out here really wouldn't matter. When in reality, this is what actually should matter, in my opinion, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's good. I mean, we had a bunch of, the news with the Elon and the minutes this week were pretty big news. We
yeah.
covered that.
Mm.
So that was pretty good. I don't really
CPI
think I
data
have any
next week.
CPI
CPI
data
data.
next week.
Yeah, yeah. I want to look at that. Other than that, market's the market, man, and
Yeah,
you just got to stay ready, right?
absolutely. I mean, I think again, what we talked about before is just knowing what type of trader you are.
Mhm.
There's, going back to day trading, swing trading, long-term investing, to really play this market for most people, you're going to have to be swinging. So
Yeah, I would think, especially on a day like today, if you're not like a actual day trader or scalper, somebody that's very quick in and out of positions, today you should have just slept in or,
absolutely.
went to your 9 to 5 or whatever. There's a day you definitely could have taken off from the
Yeah.
market. So
Yeah. A lot of red, a lot of sales. So like on your long-term plays, yeah, this would have been a day to pick up some,
yeah,
cost averaging in. So
yeah, on some good plays. Yeah.
yeah, some
Like
long-term
I
ones.
always think, just when in doubt, what you should buy is the things that you use every day. That's
Yeah.
it. And at the end of the day, if you buy and hold that forever, the ETFs too, if you're buying, the S&P 500 or the Invesco QQQ, whatever, like I feel like that could never go wrong.
No,
So
absolutely not.
anyway, I think we can end it there, bro. I think that
Yeah.
was good though. Talk about those main points. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us again. Again, if you can, pay the fee, tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell a family member if you got any sort of ounce of information, or if we made you laugh, something, anything at all, please share. This is a completely free podcast, man. Just trying to help out the masses, get some information out there. Justin, you can take us home if you want, bro.
That's it. I think the Wolves are out.